We're live. So this is episode 3, Dental Discourse, and excited to present our very first guest, Mohammad Farraj.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So let's just get into it then.
Yeah, let's get it.
Sweet. I'll give a little introduction.
Yeah, for sure.
So my name is Mohammad Farraj. I'm a third-year dental student at Nova, and yeah.
So we were having a little conversation before this, and you mentioned that you did your undergrad here at Nova. Did you do your undergrad at Nova knowing that you wanted to get into the dental school, or how did that pan out for you?
It's a funny story, man. Let me tell you the story. I got into dental school. I started my undergrad my freshman year in August of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I graduated high school in 2013 in May. I started same year.
Right.
And when first semester I came in, I knew that I thought I wanted to do dentistry.
Mm.
So I took chemistry 1, biology 1, per my advisor's recommendation, and a couple of other classes. And so I was told that you're supposed to take 1 chemistry and 1 biology course each semester.
Yeah.
That's
how
what
you-
I
that's how-
Same.
That's how you meet your requirements by the end of the 4th year.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it, and at the time I was still a kid. Still in. I felt like nobody in my family went to college.
Okay.
So it's like I was the first. I didn't really have that guidance.
Yeah.
And I ended up failing chemistry 1 and biology 1 because I didn't know I thought it was still high school. Like, you don't really study in high school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was that.
No,
way.
100%.
Never ever studied in high school.
You don't study in high school.
And you still feel smart,
Exactly. Yeah, you end up with a 3.7 GPA. How? God knows how.
Yeah.
So, I was devastated when I failed. I was like, yo, I'm that stupid. Like, this doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
How did I do so well in high school? And now, so anyways, to make a long story short, I left Nova. And I went to BC,
Okay.
which is Broward College. It's a school right by campus.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It was me and my nephew. My nephew's my age.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, you know what? Let's go together and because we both failed. I mean, we used to go, instead of going to study, we'd go play basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you guys both want to be dentists?
He wanted to too at the time.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And so we went, and we're like, you know what? Let's do accounting. So we went to BC. We took our. So before I went to BC, I told my brother, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just gonna switch to accounting. And he was like, nah, don't give up yet. I want to do. My brother's 32 years old at the time, and he was out of school for like 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
He got his AA and never went back. So he's like, you know what? I want to do dentistry. So let's do it together.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, okay, if we're together, then maybe this might help.
Mm-hmm.
So I took my first biology class there and my first chemistry class. So at the time, I believe I got like an A on my first biology test, and I was ecstatic. And I was like, yo, I was hyped, and this is awesome.
Right.
I didn't feel stupid because that's what I thought. Because
Yeah,
I
after
never
coming
studied. Yeah, and I went to the exam thinking, legitimately, you walk in and take the test and walk out without studying. That's just like the high school mentality. And
Yeah.
I didn't have the guidance, So he's like, take this time to study, whatever, yada yada. And then I ended up finishing biology 1 and chemistry 1, and he ended up dropping because he couldn't do it. He's like, this is too hard for me. So he kind of threw me back on track. This was my second semester of my first year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's just the timeline's important.
Got you.
And I came back to Nova my second year to start my sophomore year. And they told me that none of my science credits were valid. They would give me college level science credits. So instead of giving me biology 1, they gave me I think it was intro to bio or something.
The same thing happened to me because I did dual enrollment in high school, and then so I was going to Miami-Dade College, and I took a bunch of bio classes. I took bio, and then when I transferred over here, they counted it as intro to connection to bio
you
or
wasted
something.
all that time.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was annoying,
Especially going to Broward. I thought that Broward at least would transfer
And that's the thing. And at the time, because when they gave the comparison charts, the course that I took was like it qualified to be a biology 1 here at school.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so during this period, I was still like transitioning into like the actual, you know, academic studies in college life. So it wasn't just about socializing life in college, you know. So I came back second year. I'm starting fresh now. I got to take Bio 1, Chem 1. I took the same professor that I failed the first year with for chemistry. And he was... So I walked into class, whatever, and I now that I understood, I would study, and I ended up doing okay. So I took those 2 classes. The semester after that, I took Bio 2 and Chem 2. So by the end of second year, I should be done with, technically, organic chemistry, biochemistry, and more advanced science classes.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I finished Chem 1 and Chem 2, Bio 1 and Bio 2 by the end of my second year. I was like, all right. That summer I took organic chemistry. And I was in crunch time now because I wanted to get in dental school and I didn't want to wait a year. Right? So not only did I start a year late, but I'm a year behind in classes, and I didn't want to do an extra year outside of school. So like I'm in like this, I was in like a dilemma, like you know, how do I speed up the process?
And this is summer after your second semester? Your second year?
Summer right after the second year,
Gotcha.
Exactly. So I took organic chemistry. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take the DAT. So I went and I took the iPrep Dental, which was Shani's course.
Yeah.
And she was like, you don't understand organic chemistry at all. I was like, I've never taken it at all in my life. And she was like, it's okay. Don't worry. All you gotta do is just learn what I teach you, and you're good.
Yeah. That's the thing about the DAT. It's like, I take all these like I took most of my courses already, and then I was like trying to do DAT practice over the summer. It's like, it's a whole nother animal.
You need guidance. You need guidance. You need somebody to literally walk you through it and tell you, somebody who's been experienced with other students and teaching them and receive feedback.
It's like the same thing with the SAT. You take all those courses, and the SAT is not necessarily like high level stuff, but you can't, like most people that can't do it their first time because it's just like you never seen a question asked like that, or like you don't know what they're asking or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally studying the test. It's not even the material, it's the test itself.
Exactly. It's the questions. You have to understand how to answer the questions. So I took her, and I ended up at the time, the first time, I studied for 2 months straight, and then I was like, you know what? I was fried. I burned out. I was literally doing 12 to 16-hour days because I was so behind. Not just in, I didn't have biochemistry. I didn't have orgo. I didn't have microbiome. I didn't have genetics. I didn't have a bunch of physics or whatever. Anything besides Bio 1, Bio 2, Chem 1, and Chem 2.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. So she had us study in these big yellow textbooks. I forgot, AP Bio, I believe. High school biology. Yeah. And then she threw me onto the MCAT biology. So I believe that was the course. Was that the book, the MCAT biology?
It was, I did the iPrep too. And the AP Bio book was like, all right, this is your Bible. Like, you gotta, all of this, you gotta know it.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. And then I went and... So I studied all that in a matter of 2 months, and then I took 3 weeks break. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to study anymore. I can just move my test if I don't feel ready. During this time, I wasn't studying. So I was like, so a week before my exam, I was like, all right, it's time to buckle down and get to business. But I had already finished the binders. I've been taking practice tests. And my range at the time was around like maybe 19, 20, 21. It varied, but there was nothing that was dramatically crazy and high.
I mean, that's crazy for not having any background in any of those other stuff.
No, that's insane,
It is. And then, but it gets even crazier because I walked into my DAT and I'm taking the test, and I was like, holy crap, this is like AP Bio on steroids. Like, this is all familiar. So I run through Bio, run through chemistry. Chemistry for me was very similar to DAT bootcamp. That was like the closest thing that I found to be to actual DAT chemistry questions. And I run through those, beautiful, we're moving good. And then I get to the orgo. Orgo comes and I highlight 15 questions out of 30. And I'm like, okay. But I narrowed it down,
right?
You know. But there's only so much you know when you could learn when you don't really have any background at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can teach a kid to memorize 1 + 1 = 2, but if he doesn't know why 1 + 1 = 2 or why 2 × 2 = 4,
no, he's never seen a number in his life.
Never seen a number in his life, and you have him memorizing. You know.
Yeah.
So to come up with the explanations behind which answer to pick, especially with orgo, and it was all with the structures, you know, the double bonds and the single bonds on this side, and that it's hydroxyl groups, and so each question that I highlighted was one that had the answers were narrowed down to basically 2 enantiomers, which was like 2 opposite, exactly the same structures.
Right.
They just flipped over, and I didn't know how to get from that point to the final answer. So that's 13 or 15 questions. I was like, all right, you know what? It is
50-50.
50-50. Guess, guess, and guess. And I guessed on all of them. So then I get to the reading. We start with science, right?
Yeah.
So then I get to I take my reading, I do, and they gave me this super boring, like, this article about alligator skin and the nerves. And so I did that. I did the PAT, and the math comes, and I'm like about a good 25 questions in, and then I get this notification that, you know, you have like 2 minutes left or 1 minute and 30 seconds left, or, you know, when you look at the time, it starts to like flicker a little bit that you're getting to the end. And I had, now don't quote me on the numbers, but I had around like 10 questions left. So if I was, how many is it, 40 for math?
40.
So I was around question 30. So I was like, all right, time to guess. So I guessed on that one, the next one, that one. And I submitted my test. And I was like, all right. I was so disappointed in myself because I was off to a good start with bio and chem, and then orgo came and just punched me in the face, and then reading came and just elbowed me, and then
it was all getting their licks and all.
And then math came and just did the final KO. So I submitted it, and I was telling Michael that I was looking at the scores, and I was so afraid that I covered all the scores, and I started looking at it one by one. So the first one was a 16, and I was like, holy crap, I'm an idiot, you know, like, this is bad. Mm-hmm. So then I look at what was the subject, and it was math. I was like, okay, so this is bad, but it's understandable. So I guessed from the last 10 questions, and probably the first 10 were wrong, and then the last 5 that I actually did, I thought I had right, and I was wrong. So it's understandable I got a 16. So I was like, all right, in my head, I'm like, all right, it's time. I'm just going to restudy for it, study again, and take it again. So then PAT comes. I believe I got a 20 in it. And then, reading came, it was like an 18. I was like, okay, as long as we're going up. As long as the numbers are going higher, I'm good. So I went from 16 to 18 to 20. And then I started seeing these retarded numbers. I look at the next number right after 20 was 30.
Holy shit.
And I was like, nah, this is...
You're like, is this my test?
Yeah, so I slide, and it was biology.
Wow.
So then I go down to the one next to it, it was 25. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. So I look at that one, and that was Gen Chem.
Wow.
And I slide again, and my orgo score, which surprisingly was the lowest, was not even the lowest, that's what the surprising part was like a 19 or a 20. So my sciences averaged out to like a 25, and then my overall like a 22 or a 23. Okay. I took that and ran with it. She gave me the paper, ran. And I went straight to Lipman's office. Lipman is the dean of the dental school, the academic, the guy who accepts you. I don't know what his title is. So he goes, listen, Mohammed, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how you did this, but you're still a virgin in education, and I can't take you. And I was like, you know, when you hear that from the guy who's supposed to accept you, dude, especially after going through all that, man, it's fucking heartbreaking, you know.
Brad, you got like a 23, 22. And that's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, I don't this, and he loved bio. That's why I was so happy. That's his favorite subject. You do good in bio, that should take it in. So he was like, when he said that, my heart sank, and I was like, this is, I wasn't expecting that. So I left, and before I left, I was like, all right, maybe you can just guide me on how to go from here.
Yeah. Like
what to do from here.
Right. And what year was this?
This is at the end of my second year, beginning of my third.
Okay.
He's like, you have not taken any higher level science courses yet.
Right.
I can't even give you a recommendation. Just continue with the school. Continue your education. So I'm like, all right. I started taking 4 science classes a semester. I took Orgo 1, genetics, microbiome, and physics 1.
In one semester?
In one semester.
Oh my god. Most people can't even do 2 labs.
Yeah.
That's the average, and that's what it was supposed to be. But I said, you know what? Because he was telling me that, he basically compared and told me that, he's like, listen, you're competing with a good 40 to 50% of the students that apply are master students. Those are students who've taken at least, on a minimum, 30 to well over 50, 60 credits.
Mm-hmm.
And those are extra science courses they took, higher level. So when you're competing with them, there's no what would make me choose you over one of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I mean, he makes sense, but I'm not giving up. It's gonna happen. So I took those 4 science those courses, and I took 1 extra class just to try to knock off some of my what do you call those classes? Electives.
Okay.
Yeah. So then the winter semester. Oh, and by the way, I got A's in all those classes because I was just slaving for those 4 months. Straight books, and exams. Then winter comes. Orgo 2, physics 2, biochem, and not histology.
Microbiome?
Did I say microbiome already?
I don't remember.
Another 4 science courses.
Right.
And physics, biochem, and those 2 labs. I believe it was 3 labs. Okay, anyways. So it was like another 4 science courses.
Yeah.
And I went back to Lipman after that semester where I got all A's, and I was like, listen, here's my semester. What do I do now? Yeah. And he was like, okay, this is impressive. I'd like to see this. Do it again. And knock out your next science classes the same way.
Yeah.
I was like, deal. I took those next classes. Now, the only reason why I'm doing all this is because I was in my 3rd year of school. I started at 18. I'm 21 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. 3rd year of my college education.
Yeah.
And I was that far behind. So that 3rd year was supposed to kind of like balance me out with the rest of the kids that were competing with me at the time. And I wasn't doing admit either.
Right.
Which makes it even worse.
So you gotta look even better.
Exactly. So took those courses, ended up I took those courses with the exception of biochemistry. Now I remember correctly. Biochemistry I didn't take that semester. He was like, okay. I showed it to him, A's. That summer, I went to him and I was like, I'm gonna take biochemistry. He's like, and I was going to him every 2 weeks, religiously. I'm talking about, if I had nothing to talk to him about, we were talking about palm trees and the weather. Yeah. I kid you not. I was like, this guy, I refuse to make him forget my face. He's not gonna forget me. So that was my mission.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if everybody else beat me through this route, I'm gonna go another route.
Yeah. No, that's the way to do it.
So every 2 weeks, religiously, I was there, and he was like, at that point, he was just like, yes, Mohammed, and he would breathe heavily. And he's starting to get agitated. And I wasn't budging. I was gonna be there every 2 weeks. So he's like, listen, if you can give me an A in biochem and the rest of the class you're taking this semester, then we'll talk. I was like, all right, we'll talk.
And he was playing hardball, huh?
He was playing hardball. I'm talking about this guy was and I would be sitting in front of him talking, and his face would be at the computer looking. He'd be at his computer. Complete disregard. Yeah. I was an amateur. I was nothing to him at the time. Mm-hmm. So he goes, give me the A's. I was like, all right. Now, mind you, I got stuck with biochem because doctor that was there was Dr. Reza. Are you familiar with Dr. Reza?
I heard, yeah.
This guy is super hard. I'm talking about the highest difficulty professor you could take. I don't want to say worst.
Yeah.
This guy was nuts. I'm talking about like he ate, slept, and breathed biochemistry. So I was like, all right, challenge on. I mean, it is what it is. So I started studying, and I busted my ass for about a month straight. The minute we finished class, straight to the library. And I had promised Lipman I was going to show him test by test how I'm doing, progressing. Because I see him every 2 weeks anyways. I might as well.
Yeah, right.
Might as well have something to talk about. So, the first exam, I walked out. I felt like a champion. Come back the next day, next class, and he puts the exams, he passes them out, and I was like excited, it felt good. This is biochem, this is my shit. 48%.
Steve, yeah.
So that was like
Kick in the gut.
Yeah, man. So I was like, all right, this is it. I mean, I'm done. There was only 3 exams, and then the ACT. Is that the ACT?
The ACS.
ACS, yeah, that's what it was. So I took the first exam. I was devastated, man, because I poured my heart into that subject. I could not have done more.
Yeah.
So the next exam, and I'm studying, because me getting into dental school is contingent on biochemistry.
On that class, because Lemon told you.
Exactly. Now, mind you, if I had just folded and gave up and didn't really, follow through with him and annoy him every 2 weeks,
right,
I would have been for sure delayed and had to probably do a master's program. But persistence and consistency is what they look for. And also taking those 4 classes, those 4 science classes at once.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
of course.
No, some like crackhead level stuff that you're doing.
Well, let me tell you, and when you get into your first year of dental school, you're taking 13 classes. First semester.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Simultaneously, 13 classes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not like 2 weeks this class, 3 weeks that. No. It's 13 classes simultaneously. You're there from 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. Some classes you meet twice a week. Some classes you meet 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And of those 13, 5 are science. So you're talking about anatomy, histology, microbiology, biochemistry, and I'm missing 1. Okay, I can't remember it.
No.
Histology lab, anatomy lab. So consider that.
That's another class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then 8 other classes. You're taking a bunch of dental classes. You got to learn all about the teeth, and
right.
You have to learn all about. It's just different classes. Some classes, there's this thing called perio in dentistry, and that's basically the gums and stuff. Yeah. And that's its own separate class. You have to learn about the roots, and that's its own separate class, and it's very intricate. So it's a lot of classes, and it's not the load from each class. It's just
the collective load of everything.
The collective load of everything together is what weighs down on you. So before I get to that, I go to Lipman after my 48%, and I was like, Dr. Lipman, how's the weather today? We're not talking about biochemistry. Whatever conversation goes on, he forgot about biochemistry. He didn't ask me. I was like, all right, maybe I'll get it next time, next exam, and I'll just come show it to him. I go, mind you, what year am I in? The end of my 3rd. Start of my 4th. I had around like 87 credits at the time. With biochemistry, it would be 92.
Okay.
Biochem 5, right?
4.
It's 4. It might have been like, I don't know. They might have changed it, but
maybe
for
yeah.
us it's 4.
It was 5, but okay. Exam 2 comes, and I again. Oh, my 48% was the second highest in the class. I forgot to put that out there. So the highest kid was a 54. So the second exam comes, and at this time now I was not going to get my hopes up. I ended up getting a 76. Second highest. Highest was 82. So I'm like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. We started off with 35 kids in the class, and we're literally down, after the second exam, we're down to 12 kids. And I don't know why we're here. I didn't understand why I was still in that class. I should have been dropped it, you know? So I went to Dr. Lippman. And I was Dr. Lippman, how's the weather? How's football? Random things. My goal wasn't, I didn't care about biochem at the time. I just wanted him to not forget me.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted him to remember who I was. And that's, for anybody listening, that's the most important thing. At this point, I don't have an interview. I don't have an acceptance. So when I get to that, I'll tell you why that the most important thing is for them not to forget who you are, your face. Exam 3 comes final exam. I get an 82 in the exam. There's still the ACS.
The ACS, yeah.
And I'm like, I was like, all right, this is over, game over. Because what's my average?
Yeah,
48 plus 76 plus 82. Divide that. I'm at like a 70 maybe, or 68.
Yeah. And then the ACS is supposed to be like the hardest exam of the year. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there was a rumor that if you did well, if you got above a C in Dr. Reza's class, that you're golden for the ACS. The ACS is just, Dr. Reza's exams were so much harder.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and had a one-on-one with Dr. Reza, and I was like, listen, tell me what to do. What do I do to get an A? And he's like, get an A in the ACS. I'll make a deal with you. You get an A in the ACS, I'll give you the A in the class. And I was like, you're kidding me. And he's like, I was like, all right, another challenge here. Let's do this. So
that's crazy. And if you never even went to his, you would have never like that would
that opportunity would not have happened. That's why you can't. If you just try. I mean, you don't know what happens. You know what I mean? Like, who the hell? Like, I mean, anybody listening doesn't really know like how old I was when I got in and stuff like that. But when I go into details now exactly like how old I was and what happened, you don't know. Just try. That's what you should do.
Yeah, and even in the time, it's like you weren't doing it because you like knew that was going to be the result. But
exactly.
you were doing it and it ended up being the result because
exactly.
The persistence and everything.
Tenacity. You have to be persistent, consistent, and tenacious. You have to want it, you know. And I'm studying. I got a tutor. I was like, I'm doing something wrong, so let me get a tutor. So this guy is like tutoring me everything, and I'm like, yo, I know all this shit, bro. Like, what is he doing? You know? I was like, all right, whatever. Let me just keep going with him. I wanted to make sure that I exhausted all my resources, and if I didn't end up getting the A,
then there was like nothing that you could have done.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not because you didn't try.
Exactly. I didn't want there to be room for me thinking in my head, damn, you could have done more. So I kept him, and I think I was paying him like $15 an hour. And I was spending mad hours with him, like maybe 25, 30 hours, which is not much, but when you think about it, like,
what? Times 15?
Exactly.
Where'd you even get that money? That's crazy.
Well, I used to work too.
Yeah.
Right.
So I forgot to mention that. I was also working 16 hours on Saturday and 16 hours on Sunday.
Oh, damn. Where were you working 16 hours?
In Miami.
Wow. So
I was driving 40 minutes, working 16 hours, driving back home, getting home, leaving work at 12, getting home by around 12:40, 12:45. Being in bed by, let's say, 1:30 after you shower and have a meal and sit down and go to sleep. 1:30. Be back up in the morning at 7 o'clock. Be at work by 8 o'clock.
Damn,
running back every Saturday and Sunday.
I think we props. That's crazy. Like the dedication. Just from
that's insane. I'm here.
I was stuck. I mean, at the time, I didn't have my dad wasn't able to support me financially.
Right.
I didn't have I didn't take out loans. So I took out loans for college.
Yeah.
But as far as like expenses, no, I didn't take out loans, and I had a car, gas, insurance, food. You want money to spend,
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I don't work in the weekdays at all, so I got to make it up somehow. So practically the 40 hours that I'm supposed to be putting in the weekdays, I would put 32 in the weekends to kind of even it out. And I was getting paid $10 an hour, so it was good. It was good. I was making around $1,400 a month, and that was great for somebody who's working 2 days a week. So I'm paying this kid. I walked into the exam. And I'm talking about, I was, you shake. You ever walk to an exam feeling like your life depended on it? And that's how I felt, So I walked through the exam and I'm like, something's not right, because 30 minutes in I'm done with the exam. And I'm like, this is not right. Something really isn't right. It just felt off.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right. Now the exam, specifically with the ACS, they curve it by like 10 questions.
Yeah.
So I submitted it, and within like 45 minutes, and I waited outside, waited until everybody submitted it, and I walked with the professor to the Scantron room. I wanted to know what I got. I needed that aid.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, the way the Scantron machine works is they put the correct Scantron through
first,
and then they put all the other ones in. Every time you hear a tick, like
it's like the wrong answer.
That's the wrong answer. So if you hear tick 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 tick, and then the machine, the paper is done.
Yeah, however many ticks you got.
Questions wrong. So he puts the first paper in, which is the template one, the correct one. He slides that in. Okay, so now the machine's got the right answers down. So then he puts mine in, and that shit just slides right through. So he grabs it, and he didn't believe it. He's like, it's not happening. So he grabs it and slides it through again. Just slides right through. So he grabs it again, slides it. He's like, okay. So he grabs a different Scantron. He still couldn't believe it. Honestly, I didn't believe it at the time either.
Right.
So he grabs a different Scantron and he slides that one. Tick 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 tick, and it was done. So he's like, so he grabs my Scantron and he wants to grade it by hand, like without the Scantron machine. So he's comparing, and sure enough, I got a fucking 100 in the test.
Okay.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this and run with this to Lippman, Lippman's office. And I wouldn't make appointments. I would just show up, and I would piss him off. Lippman was like, man, I'll get back to you, And I was like, it's not happening. I'm gonna come see you. I'm gonna come see you. So, took the Scantron, went to him, and not the Scantron, the exam with my grading.
Yeah.
I showed it to him. He's like, so he opens it, and now the professor said, whatever grade you get on ACS, I'm gonna give you overall. So, even though 100 doesn't really mean much for there's no difference between an A and 100.
Right.
But for him to know that you got 100 in biochemistry, the class, that's some solid shit,
Are you kidding me? 100?
Did you tell him anything prior about how you were doing in that class?
I did not say. I told him I didn't take nothing.
Yeah.
I was just like, I got a 93 on my first test. I got a 92 on my second test. I swear to God. And he was like, excellent, keep up the good work. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck?
I gotta figure this out.
I gotta figure this out because I'm telling him all along that I'm getting A's in these classes. And I was not getting A's.
Then he goes back and sees that 48.
So I was like, all right. But when I got that 100 and I ran with it and took it to him, I felt like I got an A on the first test. And I was like, all right, well, you feel good.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
I'm telling you, man, it was like, I don't know, like, the reason why certain things happen, but when that happened, and like, I could have, and I don't know if because I was the only one who actually spoke to him about possibly getting a grade change if determined by the ACS. So kids in my class that got C's and B's, and it's like, if they would have just known and just asked, maybe if you would have just tried. And there was that girl that was always one grade above me. She was always the 82.
Right. Or
she was the 54 when I was the 48.
Mm-hmm.
When I went after my first year of dental school, I came here to study one day. I seen her studying. So I was talking to her. She was in a master's program. But she was doing better than me in biochem.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know her too well, but the fact of the matter is that I can almost guarantee you I was in a worse situation than you were.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the difference between, the difference between great and extraordinary, or ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra that you put in. So, and I just felt bad. And at the time, I didn't even want to tell her that I was in dental school.
Yeah.
Because that same time when I was going through this thing with Lippman where he was finally starting to approve of me, she was walking out of his office crying.
Mm-hmm.
I swear I remember walking towards Lippman one day, and she's walking out and she's bawling tears, and I was about to walk in, and I was like, oh, crap, like, am I gonna hear bad news?
Yeah. So
that kind of gave me like a little understanding of what happened with her and her situation. I mean, she would, if I put in a month worth of studying into an exam and I get a 48 and you do a 54, you're the number one in the class in our biochem class. You're doing something right, you know. Yeah. So
because if you're doing a month, maybe she's doing even more than
exactly. That. And it might just be that she's smarter.
Yeah,
you know?
But when it came down to it, like that, going to the professor or whatever, like that little extra that you did, like made such a big difference.
And that's what counts.
You know, through like your story and telling it, like it's not even just that instance. It's the fact that you went to Dr. Lippman every day shows like something. The fact that you went to, just like grinding, like you went from failing Bio 1 and Chem 1, which is like the indicators. A lot of people take those as indicators whether they should follow the medical route or the dental route. And you just completely change around.
Flip that, put it on his head and said.
And actually, Lippman asked him about that. He's like, "Why is your GPA low?" And I was like, "It was like 3.5, 3.6," and I was like, "You know, maybe if you scroll up, just a little more up, you might see some stuff you don't like." Because he was like, "I see A minus, A. What the hell? Where's this 3.5 coming from?"
Yeah.
When he scrolled up and he's seen F. Because it's forgiveness. So they average it out at the time. It shows the F. It shows that you got an F when you go see him. Your transcripts are complete when they see it. So he's seen the F, and he's seen that I retook it. And then I got an A. So they don't care about, oh, you got an F, all right, you're a failure. No. If you get an F and you take it again and you get an A versus somebody taking a class and getting a B and running with it and continuing, they're more proud of your F to an A than they are of that person's B.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, they want to see that improvement.
Because it shows that like you got what it takes. Because that's, I mean, when it comes to dental school too, like that's, you need like that grit to like be able to do shit like that. To take 13 classes at one time, like, you know.
Exactly.
That's incredible, man.
He and I remember when I walked into his office. So at the time, I'll give you a little personal story. At the time, I was engaged. I had proposed to my girl like in the February of the year when I took biochem. So she knew all along my story, what's been going on.
Right.
Her parents don't. My parents don't. I've been telling my parents, yeah, I'm gonna be in dental school this year or next year rather. I'm going to be in dental school. This year. Because I took biochemistry in summer. And I was saying I'm going to be in dental school, but that's not possible because you got to go through an application.
Yeah.
So he goes, so at this time, that just adds another level of stress because you don't want people to think of you as a failure, but sometimes you yourself feel like if you say something enough, you know,
speak it into existence.
Exactly. You speak it into existence, dude. So I go and I walk into Lippman's office one day with my fiance, and I was like, the first time she comes with me, she doesn't come with me, but this was the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And because he had told me, give me a couple weeks, I'll call you when to come, and that's around the time when I'll open up some spots for you to be able to get your interview.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds good. Surely enough, he sends me an email. He doesn't even text me. He doesn't call me. I mean, he doesn't call or email me.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't call me. He emails me, and he says, the email says, "Congratulations, you've been invited for an interview." Yada yada, you know. So, I was ecstatic. I mean, I'm talking about, this is the beginning of my 4th year. I failed my first year of college. I left the school, and I was paying, I think it was $400 or $500 a semester before I failed and left. I was on
a grant, probably. Or something
I had so many grants and a bunch of stuff that I wasn't really paying anything. I wasn't paying anything.
Right.
When I left to BC and came back, all that was gone. So now I'm paying $9,000, $10,000 a semester, and now it went up to $16,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I failed my first year. And I say it proudly because if it wasn't for that, I probably would not have made it to where I am.
Yeah, no, put a fire in your ass and you...
Exactly. You'll light up.
Yeah.
Simple. So, I failed my first year, and I've just second and third year. So technically, I was only in school for how many years, if you want to think about it?
3.
Realistically,
well, before that.
3.
Yeah.
3. But first year, if I failed, and the classes that I took that you don't matter.
Yeah, basically didn't even count for anything.
So now I'm at what? 2 years?
2 years.
College. And I got an interview in dental school, and there's people who've been taking 4 years of...
Or more. 4 years or more.
Like. Yeah, exactly. 4 years, and on top of that, master's degrees. So it was a blessing. It was a big blessing that it goes to show you that it's not always about how good something looks, you know. You can be the perfect guy on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, like, if you don't have the ability to communicate with someone, let's say Lipman, he's obviously in a position of power. Right? If you don't have what it takes to be able to, with courage, walk up to him every couple of weeks and remind him, and he knows your story, you know, and he'll know your whole journey.
Mm-hmm.
So his whole thing was what? You have absolutely not one single higher level science course. So that was the condition that he put on me.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you said, oh yeah?
Yeah, I'll show you higher level.
Bet. I'm going to take all of them at the same time.
Exactly. So when I finished those science courses, what's left for him to say? He can't add something else.
Yes.
No. He gave me his word already, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and why did he give me his word? Because I had the courage to go up there and continue to bombard him. So now, although I wasn't, you know, this great person on paper, he knew I was very tenacious and very annoying and
just
very
determined.
Yeah, you weren't stopping for no one. You're
exactly. So people like that, like, he's not gonna tell me, oh, you need to do a master's degree, because he told me you need to finish all your courses and give me A's.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to learn as, like, speaking. I'm gonna put myself back in undergrad days. Like, if I could say something to myself at the time and help somebody else out, it would probably be that you have to learn to put a bad situation, and especially if it's not in your hands, to bring that power back into your own hands. So what do I mean by that? Let's say in my situation, I went from failing all this stuff, and well, I had one option, was to see Lipman and him telling me, you got to give me all these science classes and then I'll consider you.
Yeah. Right?
So now, the ball's in my court now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not in his court anymore. It's not up to him anymore. So he's not going to go tell me, oh, you know, you did complete all these courses, but you're going to have to do a master's because there's more competitive people. No. By me going to him,
yeah, and just being in his face every day.
I put that ball in my court, because now, guess what? After I finished those science courses, he slapped me with an interview.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the interview, and surely enough, and you have to learn how to communicate with people. You guys interviewed, right?
He's waiting for his interview.
Yeah. You're waiting for your interview.
I'm still, like, I'm a year behind him, so like.
When you go to interview, I walked in, suited up, obviously.
Right.
You want to look professional. And I see all these kids, dude, and I'm like, and they're all talking about their GPA 4.0s and research and this, and I'm like, you know, shit, man, like, he wasn't lying when he said that there was, like, competition out there. And there was this kid that I met there, and he was a 4.0. He did research. He had a publication. And he was the perfect person on paper. He interviews.
Probably tanked his interview.
And he interviews with Lipman. I interview with who? A lady named Dr. Velez.
Okay.
Who now passed away, God bless her soul.
Hmm.
She was the pathology director at the school of the College of Dental Medicine. So when I was talking to Dr. Velez, we were talking, and she was, the interview here it's a conversation.
Yeah.
You know? So if you sit there and brag about yourself, you're out. There's no bragging.
He interviewed us. And I was like, I came out of that interview for the duel. It was him and another lady who was.
I don't know if she's his assistant or.
Yeah, something like that. But so she started the interview with both of us. It was just us three, and then Dr. Lippman comes in, and he's just like, I was like, holy shit! Like I just like I left, and I was like, wow! Like I felt really intimidated. Like, but. Yeah, it wasn't really like us talking about what we do.
It's a conversation.
We were talking about like the industry, and like we actually talked about cosmetics because I know a doctor in New York who's like one of the biggest cosmetics doctors, and like my mom works for him and stuff. And we were just talking about that.
Who?
You know who? Dr. Rosenthal and Dr. Appa.
Oh hell yeah, man! We're trying to bring him in, dude.
Yeah, Appa.
Yeah.
Good luck.
He's very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're trying to bring in the schools, trying to bring him in just to like
to lecture. Yeah, he is.
Your mom works with him?
Interesting guy. Yeah, she works for him. So she does the CE courses that they do at NYU. She like helps coordinate them.
That's dope.
And I met Rosenthal over the summer, and we were talking and stuff, and a lot of other doctors. Dude. Yeah.
That's right. Those are literally the gurus of like modern day dentistry.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked a lot about that in the last episode.
You ever met him?
Who? Appa? He was supposed to be at the course, and I was supposed to meet him there, but he ended up not. He was going to Dubai, I think.
Damn. Yeah, that would be awesome, dude. We're trying to coordinate that with him. But yeah, it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be fully yourself, you know. And that's the thing. That's where a lot of people have to get their downfall is. Okay, cool. You got a 4.0, dude. You got you have research. You have a 27 on your DT.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're cocky, who gives a shit about you? You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to know about. If you got the interview, the academics is there, guaranteed. Okay.
Yeah, because that's the precursor.
Exactly.
So they don't like if that's all you have to show, then it's like okay, what else? What else do you? Because everybody, in reality, like everybody applying to dental schools got the academics.
Exactly.
So it's like, what else do you have to show? And like I feel like a lot of people today. It's like when you apply and you go, they'll have the academics and then they have like these like clubs that like did you participate in any of that stuff?
So I was in the pre-dental club.
Mm-hmm.
I joined a fraternity because I thought it would be good for my resume, dude. Turns out no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't participate in the activities just because I was working all the time. Most of the activities were Friday night, Saturday and Sunday.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I joined the pre-dental club, which you obviously want to be in it. Oh, and at the time, every meeting that Lippman would have with the pre-dental society, so there was like once every 4 or 5 months, he would come and have like a talk with them.
Mm-hmm.
I would not, even if I was at his office yesterday, I would be at that meeting sitting in front row, so it's like, I saw him yesterday because I was just pushing. Remember I told you I was constantly bombarding.
Right.
I saw him that time. If the next day was a meeting with pre-dental and he was going to be there, you know where I was.
Of course.
Front row seat, sitting down. How's it going? Wave to him and he says hi back and he'll laugh.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want, When I interviewed, that sealed the deal because I had a lady interviewer and I was being very honest with her. I was not like, a lot of people, they bullshit what goes on through interviews. They say, they'll tell the interviewer, I'm a family man and I'm this and that. Just what sounds good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, sitting here like listening to you tell like all that, like that's probably pretty much what you told her too.
You know what she told me? She says, I don't want to hear nothing about your grades. Don't talk to me about academics. But I was being real with her.
Of course.
And I told her, I was like, listen, the reason, I just want to give you one explanation. The reason why I failed my first year is because I had no guidance. I'm a family of, it's 7 brothers, 6 sisters, and a dad and a mom.
Wow.
So it's 15 of us. She was like, And we lived in a 3-bedroom apartment in Hialeah for growing up. That's where I lived, you know. So, and I remember days where we would, not days, to help my dad, the boys would go and wipe, you know, car windshields with, you know, squirt some water and sponges and newspapers, just to make some money. And at the end of the day, if each one of us brings $5-10, well, if you got 7 people doing that for you, you just came up.
Yeah, of course.
So we were doing that, and some days, dude, there was like, we would be eating fucking bread and ketchup for dinner, you know. So my dad was he worked at a retail store. He was a cashier. So it's like, you can't support a family of 15 when you're alone, you know, working. So when we started to chip in, whatever, and that's what we spoke about. And I told her, you know, this is my life. Yeah, I sucked first year. I sucked. But I'm hungry and I want this. This is, and I can guarantee you, the morals are there, the ethics are there, the you know, the compassion that's needed in this industry is there. You know, especially when you grow up with like nothing, you learn to feel for those who have nothing. You know what I mean? So kept it real with her. And I would, after the interview, you want to say something in the interview that sticks with them. So for me, Lipman knows me for sure. But how am I going to get my interviewer to remember who I am?
Yeah.
And that's basically my statement that I can guarantee you she wasn't going to forget if she saw me again. 15 brothers and sisters. So if you see somebody who has 15 brothers and sisters a year after they told you that, you'll remember that's the person who has 15.
Yeah, for sure.
Not an everyday thing.
That's what I wanted. I wanted when she sits at that table, because she's going to interview 10, 15 people. I wanted when she sits at that week, to end it at the table, and they discuss, because that's what they do. I want her to be like, Mohammad, oh yes, the kid that has the 15 brothers and sisters. Oh yeah, we spoke about this. I remember.
Yeah, and then everything just runs back, the memory.
He's like, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't know what you did to Dr. Velez, but she's fighting for you. I swear.
Nice.
He's like, she's fighting for you. And I was like, I couldn't ask for more, dude. You know? So the next time I walked in, he's like, just wait, I'll call you. Yeah, okay, you bet I'll wait. Went to him, walking in, 2 weeks later, me and my fiance at the time, and he's like, Mohammed, you saved me a call. Let me ask you a question. I have a spot open. The class of 2021. Do you want it? And I stood there, bro, for about I kid you not, for about maybe 40 seconds. I'm just staring at him, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, did he just ask me if I want this seat?
Jesus. Wow. That's...
You're like, yes.
Dude, and my fiance was bawling. She was crying. Because she knows what I was going
through. Of course, man.
Yeah,
the whole journey you
went
went
to that point.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
And I was like, Dr. Lippman, I won't let you down. He's like, I hope so. And that was it. And I took my acceptance letter, bro, and I walked out, and I was like,
on top of the world.
Floating, huh?
I was floating, dude.
It's crazy.
Damn, dude, it's a crazy story, man. That's
you, bro. And it was a blessing, man. And it's like I don't know what I did good in this life for this to happen, karma, you know, but it happened, bro. And Lippman, you know, he's like, I want to save this for. He's like, don't let me down, because he accepted so many master's students. And you know, this could be saved for another podcast, but another episode if you guys want to do it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Dude, he walked when he because at this point now, I felt like I was nothing compared to all these kids. Everybody loves to gloat about themselves and what they've achieved and this, and I'm like, fuck, what did I achieve? You know, I still didn't know what I had in me at the time.
Right.
And I'm in dental school technically. And people are walking around, chest held high, you know, head held high and chest sticking out, and they're just so proud of themselves. And I was like, yo, I'm scared. I got the schedule, 13 classes.
Yeah, now the real war starts.
Dude, I'm scared. The average age of my class was 27 years old.
Wow.
I was turning 22.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Going through that shit, you know?
Who was the oldest in your class, do you know?
We had a guy who was 36 years old and still do.
Wow.
36. And the new class now, there's a guy who's 55.
Wow.
And that's what you call determination, dude.
Yeah.
That's somebody that's
crazy.
Who wants to go out with a bang.
No, for real.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was,
thank you for sharing.
Bro, a hell of a story, man.
Of course, dude.
Super inspiring, man. Thanks for coming through.
Mohammad Farraj.
Yeah, man. If you guys wanna, do you wanna talk about what happens during dental school? And
I think we're
yeah,
definitely
for sure.
gonna
That's
do another episode in the future about that.
For sure,
we'll have you
man.
back.
I just want all the whoever listens to this, man, just know, and for you guys too, bro. I promise you, when you get into dental school, no matter what your background is, you and everybody else are equal. Guess we had 10 failures the first year. Guess who were the failures?
the ones with the
master's degrees, dude. Because I was getting 3 hours of sleep. I was scared, bro. I was shitting bricks before exams. And guess who were the ones who were so complacent? They were like comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
So they took it easy. And not even took it easy, but it's just that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up 9 out of 10 that failed were master students.
Right.
Damn.
And most of them, unfortunately, what do you do with yourself after you fail? It's tough. It's not easy. So now when Lipman sees me, like it's like his whole story about masters and then that's who I accept.
Mm-hmm.
That's not his philosophy.
You threw that shit out the window.
Shit out the window, bro.
Yeah.
For real, man.
That's so awesome.
Damn, bro. Yeah, we actually want to have Lipman on.
Pretty soon. We're gonna try to get
Pretty
him on.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to reach out to him and get him on here and speak to him.
That'd be awesome, man. Maybe I can help you guys out with that. We can get him.
Bro, it'd be wonderful.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, for sure. He's very busy though.
No,
Yeah.
of course.
Now he's like the dean of. He's dean of this college of dental medicine. Him and Dr. Kaltman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's super super busy.
No, I bet.
You never know. We'll give it a try.
So let's wrap this thing up then. I don't know if you saw this right here, the better toothbrush. So we actually have a website. We're just usually at the end of every podcast we kind of leave it off with we have a website. It's called thebettertoothbrush.com, and it's basically we have a few different products now. One is like a water flossing toothbrush, and you instead of having that big tank that you hook up to the wall and everything, it connects directly to your faucet on your sink, and we completely remodeled everything on the website. We also added bamboo toothbrushes, the biodegradable stuff, and we have all the profits go towards this organization that we found. It's a really cool organization. It's like Give a Smile Back, I think, and they do work.
Kids a smile.
It's for
It helps victim of domestic abuse that receive trauma in their teeth to receive free dental care. So the organization pays for their
restorative work.
Yeah, restorative work.
Awesome,
So we started this website with the intent of giving back in that sense, and literally everything that we make from the website we're putting towards that. So thebettertoothbrush.com.
Check it out.
That's dope, man.
Thanks, Mohammed, for coming through, man.
Yeah, thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna have you back.
For sure, yeah. All right, guys. Peace out.
All right.